world full of Uniteds.
It is a magic moment from Heung-min Son!
Cities.
Through to Lucas Moura!
And Rovers.
Harry Kane! Oh, what a goal!
There is only one Hotspur.
It's glory, glory, Tottenham Hotspur!
Hello and welcome back to the One Hotspur podcast. I'm Toby from _Spurs Center, and today I'm joined by Max from the Hotspur News and Louis from just Louis. And we'll be joined by Bodie from Hotspur.industry in a little bit.
And also, if
today,
you're wondering why I'm just Louis, my Spurs account got hacked.
Mm-hmm. But today we're going to be reviewing Spurs' 2-1 win over Southampton, and then we're going to be previewing the big clash against Manchester City in the Carabao Cup final, which is tomorrow. So overall, let's start with, we have lots to talk about with Ryan Mason and with the European Super League, which all happened since we recorded our last podcast. So let's jump right into it.
English Super League.
I didn't even see that. But yeah, let's start with the European Super League. We did make a YouTube video on it, and it has already been discontinued, shall we say? But what were you guys' like immediate reactions on it, and what do you think?
I hated it. I absolutely hated it.
Yeah, I did as well. Max?
I mean, to be honest, the Super League, like the introduction of it, or the idea, should we say, like it was just another example of like how these owners were obsessed with money over passion in football.
Yeah.
And I think I say, like, especially Chelsea fans, because Chelsea fans started it, didn't they? Like the way that they protested, I guess it kind of shows that like fans matter the most. Like it's like, I guess, like, especially their protest, fans showed that I'd say fans matter more than football. But at the same time, like it's just an absolute joke, because I know I should be happy because like our London rivals, but at the same time, like West Ham are battling for Champions League.
Yeah.
And to be honest, for me, like they have a good shot at it. Their hopes are that close to getting crushed by wealth. Simple as that. Like teams like Arsenal.
Yeah.
And Spurs, how have Arsenal and Spurs managed to sink their way into it? Like,
I was confused as well, because obviously
most people can agree.
We're not in the top 6.
Like most people could agree. Like the last 2-3 seasons have showed that neither Arsenal or Spurs deserve to be even involved in that sort of competition, because everyone knows if that competition went ahead, it'll be Arsenal and Spurs at the right bottom of the table. And yeah, but thankfully the fans protested, they did their thing, and for now it's cancelled. So overall, really pathetic idea, to be honest.
Yeah, I think overall, like, I don't mind if we change the current Champions League format. I mean, I like it a lot, and I prefer it didn't change to this new format. But the way they went about it, I think, is just so wrong. With like going behind UEFA's back, going behind FIFA's back, going behind the supporters' backs. It wasn't right, and I think and the way that they tried to get rid of the promotion relegation system. I mean, that's how it is out here in America with our sports, and it's not good, because I mean, at the end of the season, it's the teams who aren't looking to get promoted or qualify for the playoffs, which is what we have out here. They just kind of walk through the rest of their seasons, and fans don't really show up. I mean, half full stadiums, and it's not the same as when you're avoiding this relegation.
And it's in America, it's no roofs. It's open top stadiums, no roofs.
I mean, that doesn't really affect the what I was saying, but yeah, it isn't the same, and that's why I think European football is like, it's just so much better, because like it adds this different element, and then having different teams in the league every season. I mean, Leicester got promoted, what was it, like 5-6 years ago? No, a little bit more than that probably. But I mean, they won the league really quickly, and it like those types of stories just wouldn't happen. got a nice little bit of background audio from Louis there. But yeah, I think that's what I thought about it. But I
I
think
was going to
we've
say,
covered that a little
I
bit. We're
mean,
gonna have to move on because we have a lot to talk about
the,
today. But what were you guys' thoughts on Ryan Mason's appointment and Jose Mourinho sacking?
I mean,
Um,
to be honest, like it was coming. Let's be real, like it
Hmm.
was coming. I think the timing's completely wrong. Like I just don't understand. Like I know the mentality was weak at the time. At the time he got sacked, like the whole mentality of the squad was
Hmm.
weak, which is kind of not what you want going into a cup final. But at the same time, Mourinho's still one of the most decorated managers in football history, and also he has a very good record against Guardiola overall. I just don't
Hmm.
understand why he's back in 6 days before a cup final. Like,
Yeah.
to be honest, I'm giving Mason a chance. It's his first break in management, being in it, and doing his coaching
he's
badges.
got 7 games. Well, he's basically got 7 games until we get a new manager. And to be
Hmm.
honest, like, I like the whole idea of Mason because first of all, Mason had very
Yeah,
good connection with Spurs. And he has very
and
good
to be
connection
honest,
with.
I'm giving him a chance because he has no manager experience. But I think he'll do well because he's won one game already. He might win another game tomorrow, but you never know. But he might lose, he might win tomorrow. It's 50-50 tomorrow. Even though Man City are on good side.
Yeah, and also, like, yeah, and speaking of the final, like, I guess on paper, Man City, well, obviously on paper, Man City are the favourites. But for example, the Southampton game, that was the first time we came from behind to win at home since Brighton on Boxing Day in 2019. That was the
I was
first
Yeah,
at
time
that
that's
game.
crazy.
to win at home, which kind of shows that obviously like the mentality under Jose was really weak, and it's like a change in mentality. So this could kind of work, especially going into a cup final. Like I know Ryan Mason has no experience, like Louis said, but at the same time, at the same time, like the players know how important a cup final is to Spurs. Like any cup, like kind of spirit. Like we haven't won a trophy for 13 years, so
Since
Yeah,
2008.
I think I have to agree with Max here that I think sacking Jose right before the final, though, like you were saying earlier, I know you just said maybe it was a good idea, but I think overall I would have given him until the cup final, just because he is a serial winner. He got us to the final, and I think it's a little harsh that we sacked him so soon, like literally 6 days before the final, and gave him. Now we're giving Ryan Mason, I feel like, an unfair amount of time to try to rally the squad to a new philosophy. Um, but yeah, I mean, obviously things weren't going well. I do think Jose Mourinho deserved to be sacked, um, but I don't know. I still think maybe we should have given him until the end of the season to turn things around. But yeah, I don't know. I'm conflicted about it because I'm excited about Ryan Mason. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, Spurs through and through, came through the academy, and I really like him, and he's been nice so far. And obviously, he did really well on Wednesday against Southampton, and I think that actually showed some of his like managerial capabilities to rally the squad so well after such a poor first half. But yeah, we'll see how the rest of it goes. Bodie is now with us. So, Bodie, what do you think about Ryan Mason and Jose Mourinho?
No words at first. I was kind of thinking, how harsh it was. I mean, I think he was doing an alright job considering the fact that he has Ben Davies on his team. Um, I felt bad for him because he didn't really deserve it. It wasn't really his fault. But I mean, if the players weren't really going to perform under him because they didn't like him, so it was kind of so. But if they play the way and if they play consistently at least until the end of the season under Ryan Mason, um, the way they played in the second half, against
Hmm.
Southampton, then maybe it was the right move. I'm still skeptical. You know, Ryan Mason has had a good start, and I hope to see him continue. And maybe if he does well enough, we could get him on a permanent because
Hmm.
he's inexperienced, but he looks like he knows what he's doing.
Hmm.
Familiar with the players and whatnot. So yeah, you can only really hope. You can only work with what you got. So I'm just
Hmm.
hopeful that he can do well.
Hmm. That's an interesting point. What would it take? Here, we'll start with Louis, and we'll work our way through everyone here. But what would you think? What would it take for you to appoint Ryan Mason permanently and give him the job next season? Louis, we'll start with you.
So to be honest, if I was the chairman of the club, I wouldn't appoint him. I'd appoint like a better, not a better, like an experienced manager, and give Mason a promotion to like assistant manager or first team coach or something like that. And then
Is there
so
anything that is there anything Mason could do to convince you this season, like
um
that with it, the games he has remaining?
because if he did do well, if he does do well, if I was leaving, I'd give him a promotion to
Hmm.
assistant manager or something to the new manager
Okay.
because he deserves that chance because obviously of what he did, well, what he's doing at the moment with the caretaker job, and probably promote him to maybe another role in the first team, not in the on 21s, and
Okay.
then I'd demote someone like Chris Powell to on 21 coach or something.
Bodie, what would you think? Like, what would it take for you to appoint Ryan Mason if you were chairman of Tottenham? What would it take for Ryan
Well,
Mason to get the full time job?
well, I mean, realistically, like Levy and all, they're not going to sign him on a permanent unless he
Hmm.
joins, unless he wins the Carabao Cup and finishes top four. But for me, even if he just, it doesn't matter if he doesn't win anything this season. If he can finish top five, then I would put pen on paper because he is such an inexperienced manager to be able to if he was able to save save us and get us at least top five, and he's a manager who's never had a professional job before, and he's going straight up to
Yeah.
Tottenham, and he's managing to do that. I feel like that's definitely worthy of getting a contract down. And to be honest, I'd actually prefer him over Nagelsmann. I think he gets too much hype. I know that's a bit 50-50. Either
Yeah.
you might agree a little, or you'll go completely against that. But I
Hmm.
would like to see him. I would like to see him do well, and I really hope he does because he's
Hmm.
Tottenham through and through. And if you can get him on a full
Yeah.
and he's doing well, then that's all you can ask for.
Hmm. I think Ryan Mason definitely has a good point. He's first through and through, and he would bring a lot of passion back to the squad. And he knows the academy really well, so I think it would be interesting to see if he had more time, how he would like integrate some of those better academy players like Dane Scarlett, Alfie Devine, even the other ones who are getting some opportunities like Niall John, Dylan Markindale, Marcel Laviniere, and then those that are out on loan as well. But Max, we'll round it out with you. What would it take for Ryan Mason to get the full time job in your opinion?
For a full-time job, I'd say win the final tomorrow and get top four, like Bodie said. And
Hmm.
also, like what's good about Mason is that I'm pretty certain he was like a youth coach before Maria got sacked. Was it like under
Yeah.
23s?
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, but
He actually he
Yeah, he
started with
was.
the U17s, and then when he came back originally, and he's been working his way up. And I think he was either with like
Yeah,
the
because
U23s or U18s or something like that.
no, it was like
U19s or
I think it
U23s.
was the 21s. I think it was the
Yeah,
21s.
yeah, it might have been the 21s.
yeah, so Ryan
Yeah.
Mason could be beneficial for like the development of particular youth players such as Scarlett,
Hmm.
Dennis Kirk, Divine,
Hmm.
which is good. And also what I like about him is that he has very good connections with the Spurs squad, like particular players such as
Yeah,
Deli, etc. And plus, and um, and for me, like, I would consider Ryan Mason as like our version of Winks back in the day.
yeah.
Uh, like a player who was like top and through, like you said, um, and a player who like always give 100%, like even if he wasn't
Hmm.
like the greatest of players in terms of quality, but at the same time, I'd say I would consider a top four still, because obviously like a Liverpool drew today with Newcastle, West Ham and Chelsea about to kick off at the London Stadium, so one of those teams are going to drop points. And plus, our running
Yeah.
is actually quite good. I'd say our only tough game left is Leicester away on the final day of the season, but
Hmm.
I'd say all the other games are very winnable. Wolves at
Hmm.
home, Villa at home, Sheffield United at home, Leeds away.
Hmm.
Those four games are very, very winnable. So, I mean, the Carabao Cup final tomorrow is just a one-off game. Like it's whether about who
Yeah.
turns up today. But I'd say,
Hmm.
I'd say for me to But I'd say for me to sign him permanently, I'd say he'll have to get top four and win the Carabao Cup. But we'll see what happens. And
Mhm.
after the mentalities change, who knows what could happen?
Yeah. For me, I think it would it would take a bit. He would definitely have to qualify for top four before I considered giving him the job. And then even if he did qualify for top four and he won the Carabao Cup, I think it would take just him showing like a little bit of managerial flexibility. Like maybe if one of our key players got injured, I mean, obviously he already dealt with Kane being out, but I just want to see that like he's able to adapt to these different situations before we gave him this massive job because I don't want to like pile too much pressure on him too soon, and then he gets sacked, and then it's just I don't want any like kind of bad blood to form. I don't think there would be, but I really do like him, and I don't want us to like stunt his like managerial abilities by giving him such a big job too soon. And I mean, I think it was yesterday. Jorginho came out and said he didn't think Lampard was ready for the Chelsea job, um, but just because he was a Chelsea legend is why he was given it so early, and it didn't work out for them. So yeah, I just think it would take a bit, and we would have to be playing really good football for him to get the job. But you just mentioned Harry Winks, and I wanted to talk a little bit about him because Mourinho had kind of frozen Winks out of the squad. And the last game that Winks had played in was the 4-1 game against Crystal Palace, and then the last Premier League game, sorry, and then the last Premier League game before that wasn't was the Liverpool game back in January. So uh, Mason bringing Winks back into the squad. Do you think he's playing a little bit of favorites since him and Winks used to be teammates, or do you think it was a
Yeah,
firmly tactical decision?
yeah, I agree. Because in my opinion, Winks was a pretty decent player under Pochettino. Because we were going
Hmm.
forward, I don't think, I didn't think Winks like kind of suited Mourinho's style of play, and you can
No.
see because, like I said, because under Mourinho, Winks was arguably one of our worst players, like
Yeah.
as like the entire squad. But
Hmm.
then again, Pop was just more like a, or just like a more like fluid style of play. Like he was a lot better.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
I like the idea that Mason's putting his faith into Winks. Like he has the potential um of like becoming like a very decent player in these last 7 games. But yeah, but I
Yeah.
agree. Like especially considering that like Mason has good connections with Winks overall, and to us, Mason was kind of our Harry Winks when he was playing for Spurs. So
Yeah.
who knows? Yeah,
Hmm.
but to us, I do trust Mason to get some good stuff out of Winks in these last games of the season.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think Winks wasn't suited to Mourinho Paul, shall we say? But I thought he played pretty well on Wednesday. I think it took him a little bit to warm up, but I think he played a not a huge role, but like he did circulate the ball, leading to that offside goal. And then I think overall he did a decent job. I'm hoping he gets more chances to prove himself before the summer, and I'm also hoping Dele. I think he's another one that Mason played with, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, they did. But if I just think Mason, he may be playing a little bit of favorites in terms of like old teammates, but I think Dele is more likely to want to play for Mason than he is to play for Pochettino. I'm sorry, not Pochettino, for Mourinho, because they obviously did not get along at the end of their time together. So I was actually a little surprised that Dele didn't come off the bench on Wednesday, but I'm I'm assuming he'll be on the bench for Sunday. Yeah, Sunday tomorrow. Um, and I'd be surprised if he didn't come off the bench there, especially if we're losing going into the final few minutes. But I think definitely that Mason has a lot of options he can use, and I think there's some remontandas, shall we say, that will happen under Mason's reign. But yeah, um, moving on though, I think we can get into the Southampton game. Um, Overall, first half was not good. Okay, I'm gonna go into our comments from our Instagram account. It's the at one hotspur pod on Instagram, and we only got a few comments, so we can get through these pretty quickly. But we have a couple similar ones too. So I like. Oh wait, hold on. That second half, two fire emojis. My team poised, and then down at the half when we win. Love it. So I mean, yeah. First half. What were your guys' thoughts?
Um, in my opinion, I think the first half proved that there's so. In my opinion, I think the first half proved that there's still like a lot of deadwood at the club. Like going forward, like our tempo was like it. Oh, it was so slow. Like it was slow. Like our tempo in the first half, like it was so slow to watch that. Like I'd rather watch paint dry in the first half. And to be honest, I think Southampton's goal punished us. Like header
Mhm.
from it was a great header from Danny Ings, and in my opinion, Southampton
Yeah.
could have scored more than one in the
Mhm.
first half.
And
As
a
much
great
as we,
double save from Hugo Lloris early in the
yeah,
game.
yeah, exactly. Like that was like 4 minutes in,
Mhm.
and in my opinion, I think like Southampton, like as much as we were poor, Southampton were very, very good. Like
Mhm.
I'd say minute 1 till minute 45, Southampton was shutting us down. But even though we
Yeah.
were poor, we had some opportunities to score and equalise. Like
Mhm.
Lucas had a chance, Gareth Bale
Yeah.
had a chance, Chelsea had a chance before the first goal. Yes, but
Mhm.
first half was poor, but Southampton game like 100% game of two halves.
Mhm. And I think that shows you a little bit too. Like the players started to play more for Mason in the second half, and even at the end of the first half. I mean, Lucas Moura had a great chance, which he did not do well with. Like blasted it over the bar, but I think it shows you. Lo Celso, I think he played really well in the second half for the amount of time he was on the field, and I think Dombele played pretty well too. I mean, Dombele played the pass to Son, which then went to Lucas, ricocheted to Bale for our first goal, and then Los also played the ball into Reguilon, who played it in the Sun for the offside goal. So I think it was a much better second half. I'm not sure if we would have won that game if Mourinho was still in charge. I don't think we would have come back. I don't think we had the character and the drive under Mourinho. But Bodie, what do you think?
Yeah, I think first half I nearly turned off the TV and just went to bed. I couldn't watch it anymore. It was trash. But luckily enough, I stuck around for the second half, and I don't know what Ryan Mason told them. I don't know what he drilled into their heads, but they came out a completely changed team, and they came out like
Mm-hmm.
a team that could have won trophies. If,
Mm-hmm.
it was they looked very very strong. If the way we played in that second half, we would have played every season consistently. We could have been in the top
Mm-hmm.
two. Where United
Yeah.
are weak, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, first half. But see, the first half worries me a bit because I don't want it to be a reoccurring thing. We can't play like that. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, we were shocking. The whole team was diabolical.
Mm-hmm.
No one played well. Everyone played bad, or was someone done
Yeah.
something, then it was brought back down by someone else's poor play, and then it's just going back
Mm-hmm.
and forth. And players were probably getting frustrated. Mason made some good changes, and yeah, second half was a lot more enjoyable to say the least. I think I can
Mm-hmm.
speak for all fans when I say that.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, I agree. I mean, I think Mason may have even said. I think I was talking to my dad about this, and he was saying that Mason probably said at halftime uh, something along the lines of, "I'm I'm thinking about my lineup for Sunday, and at the moment, not a lot of you are making it because I mean, it was just such a poor first half, and then in the second half, like just immediately, like the light was turned back on. So, yeah, here let's get into another comment from our Instagram from Spurs Base UK. Poor first half, but fun, exciting football to watch in the second half. We came firing, and Bale should start every game, no debate. He's world class. Also, Hugo Lloris, two clapping emojis, great half. So yeah, here let's talk about Gareth Bale. Uh, Out of the squad for Mourinho pretty consistently, and back in under Ryan Mason scores a goal. Do you think he deserves more playing time than he was getting? Here, Max, we can start with you on this one.
So what was the question again?
Gareth Bale should he have been getting more time under Mourinho, and should he be playing in most of our games for the rest of the season?
100% because we all know the quality as Bale's got,
Hmm.
and I think I'm not bringing like he wasn't being played enough, and I say like a good 70% of the time when he was played, he was actually very very good. Like for example, Burnley, Wolfsburger. I mean games like that where he showed his quality.
Hmm.
And I think and I think in my opinion, like especially a player who of his age who is like who's been injured for quite a long time, I think all it needs is like a good run of games to get yourself back to form. And
Yeah.
for me, like during that period when he played against like Burnley, Fulham, Crystal Palace, Arsenal, etc.,
Hmm.
I'd say for me that he was arguably our best player along with Harry Kane. Yeah, and
Yeah.
in my opinion, I think Ryan Mason will keep playing him
Yeah.
because we all know how good Bale is. I mean, all of the quality he's got, and I think Ryan Mason would agree with that as well. And in my opinion, I think I think really playing Bell, I'd say partly led to the sack of Mourinho. To the sack of Mourinho. Like I could be wrong,
Mhm.
but at the same time, 100% Bell should be playing more because we all know the quality he's got.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I agree.
I agree with
Something
that
worth
as well.
mentioning is, sorry, just really quickly. This season in the Premier League alone, Bale has 15 appearances, only 7 starts, and has 6 goals and 2 assists. So I mean, that's that's a pretty impressive stat to have. I mean, um, 8 goal contributions and 7 starts. That's I mean, I I understand his work ethic wasn't the greatest, and the comments he made while he was on international break weren't exactly great either. But I think those comments may have been misunderstood a bit, and uh, his work ethic. I mean, I don't have any defense for that, but I think in games where we're looking at him and he's not having that performance that we expect of him. I mean, we can just bring him off. I mean, we have Eric Lamela on the bench. We have, or I'm assuming we'll have Lo Celso on the bench, and so we'll have players who can come on and make a difference. And at the end of the day, I think that's what's so great about this team now is the depth that we have on the bench. So yeah, I mean, I just think I think Bale needs to start because I mean he showed us what he can do, and he's a really incredible player. But Louis, here we can jump to you now. What do you think about Bale?
Um, I think he's found his form again. Obviously, he wasn't really finding his form a bit. Obviously,
Mhm.
he was being a bit. He wasn't really scoring that much. But getting that goal really meant a lot to him. 'Cause obviously, he knew Ryan Mason a lot, and Ryan Mason gave him his chance and he scored. So fair play to
Mhm.
him.
Yeah. Bo, do you got anything to add? I'll take that as a no. Um, yeah, let's look at another comment here. Um, from THFC National, one of the members of the pod, Sam. I know the positive energy would have come after a new manager comes in every time it happens, but what we saw today was a team ready to fight. In the space of 2 days, Ryan Mason transformed Tottenham into a much better side. And yeah, so we've already talked a bit about Ryan Mason, but do you think Spurs will benefit in the Man City game from having like this new manager bounce that people have talked about?
Yeah, I think so.
Uh, for me, I'd say yes and no. No,
Mhm.
because I don't understand why you're sacking Mourinho 6 days for a cup final, because we all know the experience Mourinho's
Yeah.
got in finals. But yes, because of the change of mentality. Like if you asked me
Mhm.
last week if I was confident going into this Man City game, so last weekend, like 2 days before he got sacked, like if you asked me if I was confident going into this game, I'll be telling you I wouldn't be surprised if it was 3-4-0.
Yeah.
But now the change of mentality, like I guess especially looking at that second half on Wednesday against Southampton, like looking at the change in mentality,
Mhm.
I'd say we've got nothing to lose now because
Yeah.
we're dogs. We know that Man City on paper are guaranteed to win, and that's what I like, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah, so in my opinion, like I rate it. Like the change in mentality gives me a
Mhm.
bit of confidence, and I expect the team to go out with a fight, you know,
Yeah.
because the players know how important a final is for us anyway. So yeah, so overall, I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good point. And um, yeah, I mean, if you'd asked me as well last weekend, a couple days after the 2-2 draw to Everton, um, I mean, we got lucky in that Everton game. I mean, 2 deflected crosses that found their way to Kane, and Kane lethals ever put him in the back of the net. And uh, last time Kane was injured before a final, and we rushed him back. It didn't go so well. So I'm hoping this time he wasn't out for 4 months before the final, and he's only been out for one match day, less than a week. So, or now it's been just over a week, I guess. But um, yeah, I mean, if Kane starts and he's actually fully fit, um, I think I think we have a fair chance. I mean, a fully fit and firing. We've been saying this all season, but a fully fit and firing Son, Kane, and Bale is nothing to be like laughed at. I mean, that is a lethal combination. And then especially if you get Lucas Moura, who's on a small purple patch right now, um, I think I think we have a chance. I mean, Eric Dyer, not the greatest player, but he played pretty well against Southampton. But I don't know. I have some amount of faith that we can go against Man City and we can get a result and win our first title. And I'm sure fans will mercilessly mock us when we celebrate winning the Carabao Cup, but yeah, I'm excited. I think we have a chance. Uh, Going into the next comment that we had, um, from Ian Park 827. I like how we're playing more attacking football. This is the Spurs I like to see. And yeah, it's actually something said in the press conference before the Carabao Cup final, is that even if we don't get over the line tomorrow, we'll still have our DNA, and our Spurs blood. And do you think that's like something to be proud of, or do you think that's something of that's why we haven't won a trophy in 13 years? Bodie, we'll start with you.
No, yeah, I'm really I can't speak. Tired. Sorry. Um, no, I was really enjoying the football in the second half. The more attacking sense. I feel like I don't think it was down to I don't think that was down to Jose. I think it was more down to the players not wanting to play for Jose. But
Mhm,
for the play, I definitely feel like I definitely liked what I seen a lot more. Played
mhm,
like a good Tottenham side. Not as good as what we can be, but we definitely
mhm.
played a lot better. It was a huge improvement. And with the right signings and if you've developed players in the right way, like I said, like I've said this so many times, this team has so much potential
Yeah.
to grow into a really strong side within the next few years. So it's
Mhm,
just a matter of if you take steps in the right direction, which so far looks like we're doing a good deal here. Um, yeah, I'm hopeful that we can improve on Southampton fully and keep up the attacking football because I think I can speak for all Spurs fans when I say it was definitely it was very refreshing.
mhm. Yeah. I was talking to one of those Mourinhoistas the other day, and he was talking about how he only supports Mourinho when he goes places, and then he doesn't support those teams after Mourinho gets sacked. But I feel kind of bad for them in a way. I mean, having to watch that style of football. I mean, that's their choice, I guess. But watching like that style of football, basically, like that's all they watch. I mean, that's got to take a toll, to be honest. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, for Mourinho, just the ideologies of Spurs, if you want to call it naive, so be it. But the ideologies just didn't match, and um, playing this counterattacking football. I mean, it's okay, but when it doesn't work and we're just defending our box for 90 minutes straight, it was frustrating to watch, shall we say? And I mean, it was nice to see against Southampton. I mean, I think we had a 60 something percent possession. Or I can check that right now, but having having more possession at the end of the game is something I've missed, to be honest. But here, let's see. At the end of the Southampton game, Spurs had Spurs had 62% of the possession, and Southampton had only 38. So there's something nice to get back to that type of thing. But anything else you guys want to add about the Southampton game? No?
Uh,
All right.
VAR's a mess. Right.
Oh yeah, I I think that's one of I understand to a certain degree why they said that one. He was somewhat obstructing the goalkeeper's view, but I mean, there was no way the keeper was going to get there anyway. And he did see it. I feel like he had plenty of time to like see it and react. And I think it's a bit harsh. And obviously, earlier today, Callum Wilson's goal against Liverpool was chalked off to a handball. And I mean, his arm was across his chest. Like, where else is he supposed to put it? It's a mess. And I don't think VAR's issue is the people using it, but the people using it are using it so badly. I think it would just be better if we got rid of it altogether. Um, but yeah, I think I'm just gonna check the lineup, see if there's anything I missed. Talked about all of them. We talked about the benches. Oh, Bergvine, he's the last one I want to talk about a little bit. He got his first appearance for Spurs since the Aston Villa game. He hasn't started a game for Spurs since the second leg against Wolfsburger. So it was nice. It was nice to see him back in the squad because I'm a big fan of Bergvine, and I think he drew the short end of the stick this season. I mean, having to play with Son and Kane is like such a blessing, or it would seem like. But then when they're scoring so like that's just scoring so many, and then you're not, and I think the pressure piled up for him too much, and I'm hoping next season he gets a chance, and even the remainder of this season, I hope he gets more opportunities off the bench. But anything you guys want to add on Bergwijn?
Yeah, in my opinion, he's a player who deserves more of a chance. Like, I know his end product's been really poor this season, but,
Hmm.
but yeah, I think that's just in. But for me, like, I think his poor end product just comes from his low confidence.
Yeah,
I love his work rate defensively, and considering the fact they were playing like a more I say like attacking style now because the thing is with Bergwijn, like at PSV, he was very good in terms of his end product. Like he was getting
hmm,
goals. It's like fair enough. Like I know that Eredivisie is more like a I know that Eredivisie is like a less competitive sort of league, but
yeah,
um, I'd say from his first 3-4 games, I'd say from his first 3-4 games at Spurs, like we can emphasise how much he took those chances. For example, the City debut,
yeah.
uh, the
Man
Wolves game.
United game.
Yeah, so 100%. And he's a player who deserves more of a chance
Hmm.
because he's a player who worked hard as well. Because he's a player who works hard as well, which is what I want more of. So yeah, 100% Bergwijn
Hmm.
is 100% Bergwijn. Like getting back in the side, um, like for me, I say getting some game time, which I think Mason will do. Yeah, and we'll see him turn into the Bergwijn he was when he first arrived.
Hmm. I feel bad for him too because he started to really get frozen out of the squad just as he was picking up form. I mean, in his last four Premier League starts, he had two assists. Which I mean, obviously like, it's not great, but um, those were his first goal contributions in the Premier League this season. So I feel like he was just starting to pick up confidence and pick up form, and now and then he just got frozen out, which had to not do great for his confidence. But yeah, let's get into previewing the Man City game. We're gonna do a YouTube video. It'll be up pretty soon. It'll probably be out by the time you guys are listening to this. Reacting to, or sorry, not reacting, predicting the scores of the game. But how confident are you guys feeling going into it?
Yeah, pretty confident. Hopefully we can win. Well, no, I'm not really pretty confident. I'm actually bricking it. Um, who would have thought that the Carabao Cup final would have been Tottenham's most important game this season?
Yeah,
Now,
yeah,
but
especially with the way things started. But
yeah, all joking aside though, um, it'll be a huge challenge. City's probably the best team in the world at the moment. I could
mhm,
see them definitely playing a more rotated side because realistically they don't give a shit about the Carabao Cup. They can play the league or the Champions League or whatever. So they'll
yeah,
have a pretty rotated side, I reckon. Um,
mhm.
well,
Well, the
more
thing is, I think
rotated and
they'll
then
want to go for
stronger.
the treble. But
Yeah, but uh, yeah, I'm very 50-50 about it. I definitely
mhm,
think if we set up the right way, there we can all when you set up it right against City, you always have a chance of winning. Any team can beat
mhm,
City if they know how to beat them, and
mhm,
Spurs know how to do that. It's just a matter of if the players can turn up for it, and if they can, then you
mhm,
know it could go either way.
mhm. I mean, people have ruled us out against City before. Earlier this season, people thought for sure they would steamroll us, and we won. Last season, Bergwijn's debut game, we were without Kane that game too, and we still won. And then before that, the Champions League finals, or sorry, not Champions League final, Champions League quarterfinal. My friend was laughing at me saying, "There's no way Spurs are getting through," and we showed a lot of heart, and I think Son played magnificently in both legs, and we went through. And it's I think it's going to come down to just how much fight we show. I think Son's going to be up for it. I think Harry Kane, if he plays, he'll be 100% up for it. He'll want to prove everyone wrong about how he doesn't show up in big games for Spurs, which is such BS. But he's going to want to win a trophy. Everyone that's been at Spurs is going to want to win a trophy. Hugo Lloris is going to be dying to win a trophy before he leaves the club, which could very well be this summer. So I think we're going to see a lot of desire, and I think it's going to be a good game from Spurs. I think Eric Dyer's another person who's going to want to win, and he's going to. I think just ultimately the entire squad is going to show a lot of fight, and I think coming out of the game it'll be something to be proud of, even if we don't necessarily win. I think there'll be a lot of just I think we'll leave it all out on the pitch. So, but yeah, Max, how are you feeling ahead of this game?
I mean, you know what? I agree with Barley. Like, I'm 50-50 as well because
Hmm.
I'm confident because it's going to be like a different mentality, but also I'm nervous because it's Man City,
Yeah.
and and Man City arguably, well, I say arguably the best team in the world this season. But at the same time, like like it's a cup final, so I think it doesn't matter. As well as
Hmm.
Derby Day goes out the window, cup final day, and
Yeah.
and tomorrow's winner of the cup just depends on who turns up on the day. Like, is it going to be Spurs?
Hmm.
Or is it going to be Man City? Who knows? Like on paper, City are predicted to win, and I like that because okay, so for example, the Champions League,
Hmm.
the 18 season, the season we got to the final, how many times did we get written off against Dortmund, against Man City, against Ajax in the second leg?
Hmm.
How many times did we
Yeah.
get written off?
Even in the first leg, people were ruling us out against Ajax.
Yeah, exactly. So how many times did we get written off during that season? And at the same
And
time,
even
under
sorry.
yeah, go on. I'd say um for me, I'd say especially under like a new mentality, and considering De Bruyne is out for Man City, I guess it could
Hmm.
be a big. John Stones isn't much of a miss because they've got Laporte as well. We can see how
Hmm.
much poor City are without De Bruyne, and plus recently City's defense has been a bit vulnerable. Uh,
Hmm.
but then again, as I said, like it's all about who turns up on a day. But in my opinion, like in terms of City's quality and Mason's inexperience, I just have a feeling
Hmm.
we're just going to miss out just. But at the same time, if the players turn up and give it 100%, then I've got nothing to be ashamed of whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. I just wanted to add, we're talking about that Champions League campaign where we got to the final. A lot of people forget that how close we were to not even making it out of the group stage. I mean, after 3 games, we had 1 point. So people have written us off before, and they'll continue to write us
Was
off.
that when
But
we lost to Inter
yeah, yeah, that was the same
and
season.
we drew to PSV
Yeah, that was
and
after 3 games. We had lost to
Loris got sent
Barca.
off that day.
Yeah, so we have a lot to prove, and I don't know. I have a decent feeling about it. I think we could go out there and shock a lot of people. Bodie looks like he's a little insane, but I'm taking it that he's confident. Uh, anything else you want to add about Man City? I think we've just about covered everything actually.
To be honest, I think we'll lose, but you have to be optimistic. They are a good side. I
Hmm.
have to agree. Bodie
Yeah.
looks like he has been on the pints today.
um,
Should be on the pints tomorrow with Max. Max is going on the pints tomorrow, apparently.
yeah. Bodie's making some interesting faces.
I'm gonna
Anything
get
you
as
guys
much
want to add?
alcohol
I think we've covered a lot of it.
I'm gonna just get as much alcohol in my system as I can for tomorrow because it's a cup final.
It's
This
so
is a
funny to me
very,
too.
I
'Cause,
might, I would, but
very,
I
very
probably
big.
would. I would, but my parents would kill me. Well, I might.
Yeah,
it's so
Probably
funny
am.
to me because like Max and I are the same age, but I'm in America and it's illegal for me to drink. And
as a Spurs fan, like as a Spurs fan, especially, like it's a very weird feeling that we're in a cup final. So at the same time,
yeah,
I've just got to like enjoy the day and just get as much alcohol in my system as I can.
My
all right. I think we
dad's
should
gonna have
wrap
a
this up
lot
before we start to get banned for promoting minors drinking.
of alcohol.
Um, yeah,
I
I
think
think
you
it's want
should
to add.
edit it out.
Don't
Nope.
drink and drive, kids.
All right, yeah, we're going off the rails here. Thank you for
All
listening
right.
from the One Hotspur podcast. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're growing. We're almost at 60 subscribers.
Whoa, whoa, whoa!
Oh. Yeah, remember to follow our Instagram, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you for listening.